For the first time, we are seeing the trans boyfriend of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer. In day 4 of the preliminary hearing, prosecutors played an interview with Lance Twiggs, born a man who identifies, at least right now, as a woman. In court, Twiggs talked about a conversation with Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin, just after Kirk's killing.
Did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. I started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it, and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
So prosecutors in Utah are going far beyond a normal preliminary hearing. They are leaving no doubt about their case long before it ever goes in front of a jury. Reportedly, Kirk's widow and parents want every shred of evidence on display. They've been in court every day as the evidence plays out. And conspiracy theorists online try to make more money by spreading wild stories. Political commentator Josh Hammer joins us. One of the great things about this program and about NewsNation, Josh, is that our viewers tend to live in reality about these things. I don't think people really understand what is happening online about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the theories about Israel and everything else. Why is that?
So, Leland, great joining you as always. Unfortunately, I know a thing or two about this from a very personal perspective. So it was about 3 weeks after Charlie's assassination. Charlie Kirk was a friend of mine. We talked virtually every day for the final year or two of his life. About 3 weeks after he was tragically killed, Candace Owens decided to accuse me personally of foreknowledge of and therefore complicity in Charlie's assassination. And shortly after this, actually, there was someone who was online who was issuing online death threats against me and a few others who was arrested, actually. Because of this. So if you go to this guy's X account, Leland, you see that he followed 6 or 7 different accounts, one of which was Candace Owens. So there was very little doubt as to where he was getting his information from. So I unfortunately lived this out in a very personal manner.
So I cannot imagine what Erica Kirk and Charlie's parents are going through in court every day. This isn't even the trial. This isn't even to put Tyler Robinson in jail. But they think that if enough evidence comes out, the people making money off of this grift and spreading these lies about you and others will move on to something else. Do you have any hope of that?
So I think that the Kirk family strategy is a noble and laudable one. I would like to think that's what I would also do if I were in the situation there. They're essentially trying to tamp down all the conspiracists, trying to say, let's get it all out there on the table. I think that is a great goal, but I think that their goal probably has already been accomplished, except for the most lost of the possibly lost. Because what we've already seen thus far, Leland, this week, just in these 4 days thus far, and there's a 5th day tomorrow. But putting on my legal cap for a second, I'm also a senior counsel for the Article 3 project. So putting on my legal cap, I'm not sure I've ever seen a more overwhelming demonstration of evidence.
Murder case. What's interesting to me, though, is how the defense attorney is handling it and almost attacking Charlie's family. Take a listen.
And I want to point out to the court, Ms. Kirk has been very adept at holding press conferences at which she has revealed evidence. She has represented that the state is her attorney. She has access to all the evidence that the state has publicized.
The family has not seen this video. It hasn't. It doesn't have access to the evidence the state has. The state is the state, and Mrs. Kirk and the family have their representatives. There's a completely distortion of reality.
Help us understand what's going on, Josh.
Leon, it's actually very simple. There's a very old saying when it comes to courtroom trial law, and the saying is as follows. If the facts are on your side, you plead the facts. If the law's on your side, you plead the law. If neither's on your side, you just pound the table. And that's what these lawyers are doing. They are, proverbially speaking, just pounding the table, trying to make the judge lose his sense of reality, like your viewers have not done, and kudos to them. But they're essentially just trying to rile up emotions here because the facts are on their side. The facts are very clear. The law is on the side. The law is very clear. Tyler Robinson is going to be found guilty. And yes, he's technically just accused. He's technically just alleged. These are the legally correct terms. But this is an overwhelming demonstration. Frankly, to me, Leland, the only interesting question is what is the actual penalty going to be? Because prosecutors, as we know, are seeking death penalty. We'll see if he actually gets that.
So in that sense, is the only way to get justice, if it is for Charlie Kirk in that sense, that this overwhelming amount of evidence is displayed, then there's a trial for an overwhelming amount of evidence, putting the Kirk family through this even farther. But lastly, it seems as though they almost have to go to the death penalty, that having a plea deal defeats the purpose of what we've been talking about. It only feeds the conspiracy theorists.
Listen, I am personally hoping for the death penalty. As a friend of Charlie's, to me, that is the closest thing that we could possibly get to justice in this situation. I'm not sure that we'll ever get true justice after all, a 31-year-old father and husband was taken from us in the very prime of his career. But that, to me, would be the closest that we can possibly get there. Prosecutors will go for it. Utah is a conservative state. Yeah. It is a death penalty state. They don't execute as frequently as, let's say, Texas or Oklahoma or Florida or anything, but they definitely do. And it would not be out of the realm possibility for them to actually do that there. I think that there's about as good chances of happening here as in any case out of Utah, that's for sure.
All right. And as you point out, the evidence is overwhelming, which is something that a jury looks to. And also, there's a lot of evidence about the motive, and that this was a crime of true hatred that was planned out. Josh Hammer, thank you very much. Appreciate the perspective.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.